Hello everybody, welcome back to Legacy Percussion. This is Jerry Leak talking to you from my room at Berklee College of Music, and we're going to talk about video number 48, an examination of some polyrhythms using two African drums and also a foot shaker to kind of keep an alternate beat going. And behind you, you see a grid that I'm going to use to analyze and develop some of these polymeters. Now this is basically analyzing a composition I did called Chrysalis for one of my earlier CDs called Cubist. And in this particular track, I use a balafone, an African log xylophone, and some African bells to set up these various polyrhythms that cycle through the entire piece. The beat stays the same where the polymeter starts to change within that beat. And it used this particular composition as the basis to develop tabla solos in different meters. So it's really a kind of a steady beat, which will be played on this low drum called the sogo from Africa. This is just for demonstration purposes. You should definitely check out the track where it goes through 3/2, 4/3, then 5/3, 7/3, 5/4, and 7/4 before returning back to the 3/2. But I'm going to break things down a little more systematically for this particular study. But know that the track is certainly worth checking out how it's all put together in one composition and with different tabla solos. So we're going to begin with just a simple 3/2. And basically we probably are aware of that. If I just use the two drums to put the 3 on this side and the 2 on this side, using some of these dem sticks, beautiful rods that aren't going to be too loud and blasting, we would have this. Pretty straightforward. Now I could speak this guy as ta ki ta ta ki ta ka ka ta ka, then taka 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 taki 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 ta. One thing that's really exciting for me is to set up a different layer of speed, or what would be basically a slow speed, a slow 3 in the foot, to create a larger cycle. If this is thinking quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 1, the foot would be like in half notes. And that would set up a 2-cycle phrase. So here's the beginning, halfway, with the foot on the offbeat. And I can speak that as ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. So ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka, ta, ka, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, taka dimi, taka dimi, taka dimi, taki, 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 taka, 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 taka. This also gets into an area of study that I refer to as polyrhythm clocks, imagining these all as different gears to a clock. And you sort of remove the gears and start to analyze their components and see how they fit. So I just explored very simple 3/2 with the foot in the slow speed. Now this grid in the back here we can use in some regards to basically see how we can map this out. If you take 3 and multiply it by 2, the 3/2, you get 6. So what I want to do is isolate the first 6 dots on this board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be where our bar line ends. And basically we're going to have 3 groups of 2. So I'm going to put those at the bottom. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's the 3 of them. And then on top of that, 2 groups of 3. So we have 2 groups of 3 over 3 groups of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here is your first grid showing the use of this dot system to create the polyrhythms. And we can imagine that we're in 3/4 meter. So 1, 2, and 3. Now my foot was doing the half note. And if we just keep it to one phrase, there's the first bar with the second bar landing down here. Ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. So it's as if there was a repeat taking place. So I'm going to do it again. And you can see how the board kind of gives you this dot matrix system defining the pulse. So we have ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Now, in the track, I opened with that 3/2, but then I decided to syncopate the phrase and create a very interesting and rather challenging little syncopation using the two drums. It's still 3/2, but instead of playing just this simple little phrase, this sort of dotted quarter note in the 2 field, I'm going to make it not a single hit, but a double hit. Like that. Taka, 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 taka. And on the balafone, you can hear that represented in the track very cleanly. Then what I'm going to also do is syncopate this side. Instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, it's going to be a 2-bar phrase, and it's going to be like this: 1, 2, and 3, 1 and 2, 3 and 1, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 3 and. So it matches kind of where the foot is placed. It almost sounds like a bongo bell, gong kiki, but it's flipping because of the fact that it's in this 3/4 bar. So the basic 3/2. Becoming this guy. And that allowed me to now start to reconfigure this phrase. So instead of doing taka, taka, I treat it now like as 8th notes, and that becomes the 4/3. So what was, and then became, with a steady beat here. There's our 4/3, which is taka, di, mi, taka, di, mi, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. Now in the balafone, I use different note treatments in pairs on the right hand to kind of create ascending and descending phrases. If we go back to our board, we now multiply 4 times 3, and that gives us 12. So we're going to erase all these guys, get rid of this, and we have 4 groups of 3 with 3 groups of 4. So we have to put in these 4 groups of 3 on the bottom. Yep, so we have 4 groups of 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, another hit here, 2, 3, 4, and another hit, 2, 3, 4, ending right there. So we should have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll get rid of this guy. So that's the 4 groups of 3. That's what my left hand is doing. Now 3 groups of 4. So 1, I'm sorry, that was 3 groups of 4, now the 4 groups of 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, then this guy, 1, 2, 3. It's easy to get confused with these numbers. 1, 2, 3, and there is giving us a sense of the 4 on top of the 3, and we can now think of this as being as if we're in 12/8. That's kind of our thinking. Ba, ga, di, ga, di, ga. Using these dots, again, multiply 4 times 3, that gives you the 12, and then you can create the grid. You don't have to know notation, you can just see it spatially, like this. So the 4 is in the top line, and the 3 is in the bottom. And I'm going to do the slow 3 in the foot. So we have. Various improvisations that happen in that particular part of the tune, very much in that kind of familiar African polyrhythm sensibility. Then the tune progresses into a 5/3, and we can apply the same methodology on the board. 5 times 3 is 15. So on the bottom, we're going to have 5 groups of 3. So think about your 15. So let's count it first. Get rid of that little guy, our little bar line. Kind of set this up in advance. This is how far it'll actually go. We may not cover all of them because of time, but 5 groups of 3. So that's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's put that as our little bar line. So 5 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. On top of that, 3 groups of 5. So we're always going to start together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what is the meter in this? Well, you can almost think of it as in 15/8. There's 15 of these eighth notes moving along. So let's go ahead and classify that metrically. And it's basically a ternary feel, so it's going to be triplets. So if we're thinking about the beat, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a. That's our bottom line. Now, it's actually going to hit various points of the triplet. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a. Or takita 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 takita. There's our 3 over 5. So ta di di na tum ta di di na tum ta di ki 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 na tum. Now if I can add that halftime foot just for another level for our presentation. So we need a 2-bar phrase. Here's halfway. So we're going to do another one in 5 over 4, which is going to be more in a binary pulse. 5 times 4 is 20. So if we do the math and set up a new grid, we're going to have 5 groups of 4 on 4 groups of 5. So let's see where that takes us. So 5 groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. That should take us to 20. Let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Get rid of our old bar line. You can see the cycles are expanding. So on this, we're going to have now on the top 4 groups of 5. And metrically, it's going to put us kind of back into 5, 4. Yeah, I hope you can see this, but here we go. 4 groups of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is probably where we're going to end. It actually goes through a whole series based on 7 over 3 and 7 over 4 as well. Probably more than we should get into today. But here's what we have. And we're thinking 16th note theory. We all know 1 E and a 2 E and a. So it's actually going to land, if this is the beat, 3, 4, 5, together they begin. Then 2 E, 3, and 4, a 5. 1, 2 E, 3, and 4, a 5. Some of my earlier videos, we looked at some groupings in 5, a 5 over 4 over 3 on drum set. This is more of a systematic breakdown of how that works. So here we go. So binary, 1, 2 E, 3, and 4, a 5. 1, 2 E, 3, and 4, a 5. With the foot and halftime feel, we have ta, di, ki, na, tum, ta, di, ki, na, tum, ta, da, di, mi, ta, da, di, mi, ta, di. So that takes us through a number of these series, 3 over 2, 4 over 3, 5 over 3, 5 over 4, and various combinations. Switching hands is always a great idea. The piece explores these same ideas in 7 over 3 and 7 over 4. So let's let you kind of check that out and send me any feedback you have on your understanding of how that works. And hopefully, using the dot matrix system, you can think about space and time in terms of just a visual sensibility and mathematics, and less about notation and all that other stuff, which is very useful, don't get me wrong, but I still think this is very organic and very natural. And but all of them do fit in metric perspectives as well on the board for analysis. Okay, that's a little bit of some polyrhythms from this tune Chrysalis. I hope you do check out the track. You can listen to it a little bit, follow the link, and you'll see how it's built. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Take care.